What's going on, everybody? OGR here, nerding out sports in the chat, clocks in the chat. What is going on, guys? So I have a little bit of a theory here that I want to get to, but before I do, I want to, ask my buddy, how you doing today, bro? You look tired.
I was gonna say I am tired, physically tired, a little bit mentally tired. It's just that's just how it is as a Giants fan going into week 4 of the season, and you're already just a little bit tired and whatnot. But I'm here, I'm wide awake, I'm alert, I'm ready for what you got for me. Shout out to Clocks in the chat and Nerding Out Sports. Nerding Out Sports already trolling, saying that KB is a Cowboys fan. Who may pop in later, by the way, guys.
Yeah, he's not gonna be on it. I want to know how to figure. Well, we're gonna get into that.
I mean, I'll tell you what. Edward's first suggestion. I like his first suggestion of sell the team.
Well, I wouldn't mind that. So I'm gonna get into my whole theory. If you guys have not heard my theory, it's a little bit based on my last video, but I'm gonna elaborate more. So, did you know that the Giants are 51-80 since the 2012 season?
No, but that's not a surprise.
Okay. We've gone through 4 head coaches, 2 GMs in that same span.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm not saying that I don't think this one day can be fixed. I'm just saying I think it's highly unlikely. Reason being, I don't trust ownership. I don't trust ownership at all to fix this. This is what bad teams do. They make poor decisions because every year as Giants fans, we find a reason to scapegoat somebody. May it be Tom Coughlin. May it be Jerry Reese. May it be Eli Manning.
Whenever we cleaned house in the past 4 years, both times we should have actually cleaned house and not just, leave one person left over.
Every year we find a reason to scapegoat. And I'm not saying Dave Gettleman doesn't deserve some blame. I'm not saying Eli Manning doesn't deserve some blame. I'm not saying that anybody that's contributed to any sort of loss doesn't deserve some blame. But at the end of the day, you have to go to the tippy top of the skyscraper and say, here's a problem. Well, if it was a skyscraper, it'd probably be the basement. But regardless, the foundation, regardless, you've got to say 8 years is a good sample size to say ownership does not make smart decisions. And a lot of people will never hold ownership accountable because they view it as, well, it's not going to change, so why call it out? My attitude is put a little bit more pressure on John Mayer and Steve Tisch to get it right this time because I
want to ask, do you know when Steve Tisch became like a part owner?
I want to say it's just after the death of Wellington. Don't hold me to that, though.
Mm-hmm. What year was that?
I want to say Wellington died in 2004. Again, don't hold me to that. It might have been 2004, 2002. I'm forgetting what year Wellington died, but I should know this as a Giants fan, though. It is pathetic to be telling because I always say, learn your history, and I'm failing miserably on camera.
I was going to say, as much as I hate ownership right now, it's crazy because I'm grasping at straws. I feel like every Giants fan is grasping at straws to try and figure out who the blame goes to. Like you say, we try and find a scapegoat. For some reason, I'm like, yo, maybe it's Tisch and not Mara, because at least the Mara family has been here since the beginning.
OGR says, bro, you just hit the nail on the head. I just don't trust anyone from ownership to head coach and scouts. I knew there was a reason you're my favorite. I appreciate that I'm your favorite, my man. I do appreciate that.
Shout out to Water King Anonymous in the chat as well, bro.
Yes, he is.
Legendary that we're doing this right now, bro. Listen, we'll try and do it as much as we can as long as the season's going on, which is 13 more weeks. I have to do a quick calculation in my head there. So as much as down as we might get at times, there's still 13 weeks and we're all going to be here for it.
So basically getting what I was trying to ask you, do you see what I mean?
Bro.
Because I don't trust them.
OGR, let me tell you this, bro. Back in, I want to say, what is it, May or June-ish, when I first started, getting in contact with you guys, with the Giants community, when I first started getting in contact with Kid Blue, you, Tana, and all that, it was around May, June, right? The first ever collab live stream type thing I did, I think, was with KB. And in that live, that was like the first time the idea was proposed to me that was ownership. And I was like, yeah, you know what? It is ownership. It's been, and it took me a while to realize that, but it's literally them. They're the reason everything happens in like a decision doesn't being made with this franchise without their say so. And for the past 10 years, they've messed it up. And for the past 5 years, they gotten progressively worse and worse at making these decisions.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people think I'm using this as an excuse to sit there and hide behind Dave Gettleman, essentially, or at least give an excuse to Dave Gettleman. I'm not giving an excuse to Dave Gettleman. At this point, I've come to realization that he should have done a little bit more to improve the team. Now, I'm not saying this team can improve. There's 13 games left. Anything can happen. The Miami Dolphins, like Chris did a video the other day, and the Miami Dolphins were what? They started off
They started off
0-5 last year.
Yeah, like I was going to say,
and they were
0-6
beat
or
by
something.
20 points or more in their first 5 games. And then all of a sudden they turned it around and went 5-11. I think any Giants fans right now would take a 5-11 record and turning this team around and being that Miami Dolphins team that everybody saw last year and say, we can do that. I feel good about my team going forward.
And I agree with you. And I was saying that like you mentioned in your announcement video for this, how we were talking back and forth, and several of us were talking back and forth. In there, I said this. I'm like, you could call it my blue lens that I have on. You could call it just being too optimistic of a fan. But I'm like, we all knew the first 6 weeks specifically were going to be tough. I don't think we all expected it to be this tough, but I fully expect us now, if I'm being honest, as of right now, at this hour of the night, I expect the Giants to go 0-6 for the first 6 weeks. But at the same time, I knew the first 6 weeks were going to be hard. And I always told myself, we're going to improve after that. I always said to myself, we're going to improve. And I still do believe after the first 6 weeks, which are legitimately the toughest stretch of our schedule, then the middle part of the schedule is easier. I do think we could get some wins in there. And then, momentum comes and goes. We'll see how we finish out the season. But like, I think we've known for basically since the schedule was released that the first 6 weeks were going to be tough.
All right. So these are not my ideas. These are ideas I've heard through social media. Okay. So first off is a lot of Giants fans for years now have been upset with the 3-4 defense. Me, I have no problem with it. I just think it's about getting the right personnel. I've heard people wanting to go to a 4-3. I don't believe we have the linebackers to do a 4-3. Most of our linebackers on this roster are pass rushers. They're not your typical weak side and outside linebacker, which in a 4-3 would be.
It makes sense that most of our linebackers are that.
Exactly.
They won't fit in a 4-3
defense, but yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that?
Nah, I'm just like you. It all depends on your personnel. And I remember when we first switched to the 4-3 back in 2017, or was it 2018, whatever season it was. People have been there ever since. They're like, nah, why are we switching to a 4-3? It's because we've been why are we switching to a 3-4?
Dom Dizzy actually answered. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Dom Dizzy did answer. The Tush family became part owner after 91.
Okay, so they've been here for a minute. Yeah, so I was saying, I remember when we first switched to a 3-4, people weren't happy about it. I think part of that was because at the time, it was the exact opposite as it is right now. We didn't have any type of 3-4 linebackers when we first switched. It's why that defense struggled so much in 2018. And also because at that point, we've been a 4-3 for like over 15 years, I want to say. Almost 20, maybe even more than that, actually. You could say basically since Strahan was here, I think, was when they became a 4-3. Don't quote me on that.
Quoting you on that, so I don't know if they were. I want to say not. I watched them lose in '93 to the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. That I believe is Michael Strahan's rookie year. So, if I'm not mistaken, it's right around that time we either switched to a 4-3 or that was the end of our 3-4. But I don't see. I can't recall Michael Strahan's rookie year that well. So
exactly. So that was part
right
of the reasons because everybody was so used to the 4-3, and for years and years we were dominant as 4-3. It's just what people are used to, and if it's good, then they're gonna stick with it. Just like how if this 3-4 things becomes good and they run with it for a while, they're gonna love it. It's just how fans are.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. So yeah, I don't see a lot of people want to argue we have the personnel for a 4-3. I disagree. I'm not saying we can't play it every once in a while as a hybrid, but I don't think it's something we can that's our base defense is a 4-3. Because I think both of us agree we are a base 3-4 scheme, which Patrick Graham has shown throughout the season so far. I wouldn't be surprised going back at it, see what we line up, and I guarantee we line up majority in a 3-4 base defense with packages off of that, whatever that may be, like a 3-3-5, whatever. So here's another question for you. I've heard two different things, and I think somebody set it up above. Just scroll up real quick. Where is it? Where is it? All right. I can't find it. But somebody mentioned fixing the offensive line. We can't fire ownership. We're not Packers. We're not Packers fans.
Yo, it's funny you bring that up because every time we go ownership, I'm just like, yo, let's just move to what the Packers are. They technically don't have an owner, so that would be nice.
So moving on, offensive line. I've heard crazy stuff today. I've heard replace Gates at center. I think he's actually done okay. A lot better than a guy who just started at center over the summer should be. I think he's farther along. A lot of people want Spencer Pulley in there, and I just don't think they realize how bad Spencer Pulley is, especially if you put – I trust Nick Gates more against Aaron Donald one-on-one than I would trust Spencer Pulley. Maybe I'm just a Nick Gates blinders-on fan.
I wouldn't use the word trust because I don't trust anybody on this offensive line against Aaron Donald. I would just be like, I have more faith in Nick Gates against Aaron Donald than Spencer Pulley.
And then I've heard replace Cam Fleming, which I think the offensive line, even though we got splattered by San Fran, I still feel like this offensive line is playing a lot better than I'm expecting. And maybe my standards are just too low. I just think give this team time to come together. The offensive line will begin to open up holes and whatnot. But because the run game's so bad, I just think people are losing patience with the offensive line. I get why, but it is what it is.
So on the offensive line, it's funny you bring that up. Like, I want to say maybe a half hour before we went live here, I had my preview video finally go on YouTube. It was premiered. By the way, guys, if you haven't checked that out, go over there and check it out. I don't know if there's a thing with YouTube. For the past month, a lot of my people haven't been getting my notifications. So if there's any of my subs in here, just follow me on Twitter. I anytime a video goes out or I go live or even I go live with OGR, I just tweet it out on Twitter because I don't know what's up with YouTube notifications. But for the past month, they've been sliming me low key. But it's funny you bring up the offensive line thing because somebody brought it up in the premiere. They said, get Nick Gates out of center. And this is all I said to them. I was like, all right, look at it this way. He earned the job as center. It wasn't given to him. He beat out Spencer Pulley. Do you really want Spencer Pulley back there? That person suggested, and I'm not saying this to, get on them or anything. They're a great subscriber of mine. I'm just rebutting them. That person then responded saying, well, what about Shane Lemieux? You know what I'm saying? Shane Lemieux was rumored to be at center. He was taking snaps. I'm like, Shane Lemieux couldn't even beat out Spencer Pulley. Nick Gates is legitimately the best option at center right now. He might not be good. In my opinion, he's okay. He's not good. I don't like him at center. You definitely like him a bit more than I do, but I will take faith in him because of the fact that he beat out the other guys that were competing for the job. So I'm like, he's the best option we got. Let him be out there. Let him actually develop. He's essentially a rookie at center, just like Andrew Thomas is a rookie at left tackle. Let them both develop as the season goes on. As for Cam Fleming, I actually agree with you. I think a lot of people are harder than Cam Fleming than they should be. Fleming has actually performed better than I thought he would. And as of right now, I know everybody's calling for Matt Pert. At this point, sure, why not put him in? But I don't think it's necessary because I think Cam Fleming has done an okay job so far. Realistically speaking, his only bad game was Pittsburgh. And I really think last week, and I said this in the preview video, I don't know if you agree with me, I really think last week in terms of pass protection was an aberration from the offensive line because they've been good in pass protection the first 2 weeks. And then last week, I don't know what happened. They were absolutely terrible, which is why I'm like, that has to be like an outlier game or something.
Yeah, especially against going actually what you would consider to be a less defensive front.
Exactly.
Ziggy Ansah just basically getting signed off the street pretty much.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, pass protection wise, last week some went wrong. I don't think that's how they actually are. Run blocking, we've seen that's how they are, but they're gonna improve. But at least with pass protection, I'm like, last week, that's just not indicative of how they actually are.
So I'll just read a couple comments here. He says, Pumpkin, going back to Pumpkin, he says, and what is going on, Pumpkin? I know it's Pumpkin, but I like calling him Pumpkin. I agree the theory of ownership wants Gettleman to win with Eli in his first year as GM. So he got Saquon to help out the winning. I believe that.
Can you repeat that? You got Saquon to what?
That's the message.
I think everybody agrees with this, right?
Well, not everybody. I mean, when I propose this, people are just like, OGR, are you sure you know what we're talking about? Well,
okay. Well, because everybody would know about it.
Because I didn't play football besides high school. I don't know anything.
Oh, of course, man. You already know, bro. The people who point that out, they are the true experts.
Exactly. even though they blew out their knee in college, just saying. And they were career backup. But hey, who's counting? I trust Andrew Thomas and Aaron Donald. He will sit on him and make him cry. Okay, Bradley.
Listen,
I hope you're right.
I don't know if you know about Bradley, but he's in every great subscriber of mine. He's in every single stream that I am at, and every time he will comment something to say, that Andrew Thomas is the GOAT.
Since we've been talking about the offensive line, Edward Chan has says the offensive line is underperforming. What do you guys think of possible trading Zeitler? Not saying we should, just something I've been seeing crazy Giants. That's actually not a bad, I don't know when the trade deadline is or when it ends. Well, trade deadline's now, but I don't know when it ends. That's certainly possible if you want to get rid of his contract and there's somebody that needs a guard or a guard away from.
Is he talking about Zeitler?
Yeah.
I've seen that pop up as well, and honestly, I want to keep Zeitler on here as long as he wants to be here. Zeitler is still, right now he's probably our best offensive lineman. I remember in week 2 he was graded as our best offensive lineman. I think the same thing for week 3, and he got some years left on him. I feel like people underestimate how long offensive linemen can play in the league. I feel like they just look at Zeitler, they see he's like a little past 30, and then they're just done with him. But offensive linemen very, very frequently play into like their age 39, 40 seasons sometimes. I mean, look at Andrew Whitworth. I'm not saying Zeitler is an Andrew Whitworth level player, but he's really good. He's still one of the best guards in the league, and I would love to keep him as much, as long as we can keep him.
So LA Lou says, being a Rams fan, I hate giving your O-line solutions, but if you want to save DJ from Aaron Donald and the Rams rush, he has to get rid of the ball quick and roll him out. But good luck with that.
It's funny you say good luck with that, because in order for that to be successful, the receivers need to get open.
And not only that, well, I think Daniel Jones should be looking to dump it down anyways. But, I mean, one thing I've noticed with this team, not a lot of screens and not a lot of draw plays.
And anytime they try to run them, it's too cutesy, in my opinion.
It is too cutesy. I agree. And, to me, a lot of people want to establish the run to run play action. But if a team is just expecting you to run or gearing up to run, play action can still, depending on the aggressiveness of the defense, which we saw at Pittsburgh, which we've seen with San Fran, which we've seen with whatnot. Because, I've noticed a couple times last week, they'll slide the receivers inside to be blockers on a play.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be just a couple missed blocks or just missed timing. Right. The defense is reading run, especially when you're taking a wide receiver from the outside and putting it in where a tight end would be, motioning it in. So at that point, why wouldn't we just run play action out of that? It's not necessarily a run blitz on anyway. Yeah. So it's
because I feel like it's still, I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to say establishing the run makes it more successful, because I think that, I don't know, I think that there's been stats that show that, you mentioned that or something like that, that it doesn't necessarily make it more successful. It's just kind of like a safety blanket, I guess you could say, to the fact that the team knows you've been running all the time. And let's be honest, usually teams, I know the stats would say otherwise, but let's use the eye test. Usually teams that have a lot of success with play action, it means their run game has been good either that game or a game before.
I mean, Jaden, to be totally honest, being predictable on offense is due to how much of the offense is actually installed. I was going to ask you that. How much do you think has been fully taught, has been fully installed? Because I'm sorry. I can tell you week 1, nothing was installed. That looked like a Pat Shurmur offense, man.
I'm telling you, it still looks here in week 4 like a Pat Shurmur offense for me.
Well, but I mean, as far as, we're not actually to be honest, we're not actually I don't know how to put it. It doesn't feel like this doesn't feel like an Eric Coryell offense. It doesn't. It does feel like
because we haven't.
Taken ideas from
nothing we've run so far is Eric Coryell, bro.
So I don't know if that's what he installed, or they just looked at the film last year and said, "We're going to just copy Pat Shurmur or run a offense because of Daniel Jones like Pat Shurmur."
Here's the thing: if they just copied Pat Shurmur, DJ would have had a little bit more success than he's had.
DJ is the best when he's running RPOs and shit. That's what Pumpkin says, or Pumpkin, however you want to call it. Establish the run, changes everything. Change your offense. You can run PA. No, I agree. The Giants have to show a threat of a run, for sure. But I mean, teams are already lined up 7-8 in the box consistently against this team. That's why I'm like,
I feel
if
like
they're already geared to stop the
I
run.
feel like we're the only team in the league that teams have consistently since week 1 put 7 and 8 people in the box, whether Saquon is there or not. I feel
They're
like it's been
saying
that way.
Daniel Jones beat us. Wide receivers get open.
They're also saying we know your offensive line can't hold us.
Oh yeah, I agree with that too. OGR, I get you're going long against Chicago and Pitt, but if you destroyed by injuries, you don't scratch the field. I don't get it, you guys. I don't get it, guys. Can you explain?
Yeah, I don't
I'm
get that either. I don't know why there was only one long play from Jason Garrett in the San Francisco game when they had a banged up secondary. And the fact of the matter is, the best part of that defense for San Francisco, that game was 100% their linebacking core. They should have been able to take advantage of the secondary, but guess what? And I said this in my recap video. I said this in my reaction video. I even touched upon it in my preview video because it irked me so much. It was a combination of our wide receivers being so bad for some reason in that game to not get open. You go back and you look at the film, and they were just covered like 90% of the time. It's crazy by, these secondary players that shouldn't be able to cover them. And then Jason Garrett not scheming them open. I swear to God, we're probably the only offense in the NFL that doesn't help scheme their players open.
So far, that looks that way. Shermer last year averaged 22 points a game. This year, 12.7. LOL. I wish Shermer was still here for. That's why I argued at the end of last year for Shermer to stay, just for that reason, because I think it's so foolish,
My dream scenario,
your head coach and offensive coordinator with a young rookie QB.
My dream scenario at the end of last season was, and I know it was going to happen, which is why I think I coined it. This is my pipe dream. Shermer to step down as head coach, but Beater as the offensive coordinator. And then they hire everybody else because I loved Shermer's offense so much. And that offense could work with this team. He just couldn't be a head coach. That was it. And I was like, it would be so great if we kept him as an offensive coordinator. And that's honestly where he does, his best work. Even in Denver right now, he's doing great work as an offensive coordinator over there in Denver with a backup quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I would have loved that so much.
Same here. I mean, I would love to see Pat Shermer as offensive coordinator. I just think it was a huge mistake. Like, I have no problem bringing him back for this year. I would have had no problem with it. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but it's just like, you look at how many QBs like struggled early in their career, and you wonder what could have been. I use Jameis Winston as an example. I use David Carr as an example.
How many
use Ryan Tannehill as an
did
example.
Jameis Winston go through in like his first 5 years?
3.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy.
And then,
go on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what Jameis Winston could have been. I'm not saying he still wouldn't have been a turnover machine, but David Carr literally got smashed every single game. I believe he set the record for most hits in his first 2 seasons by a quarterback. Like, that's how many times he got hit. I think like over 80. Something stupid.
Yeah, just the Texans really actually, people use the word destroy very very casually. Now the Texans literally destroyed that man's body in his career before it could even get to take off.
Yeah, and I just like, we're not doing any favor. We've done 0 favors for Daniel Jones. We put 3 new offensive line starters out there. We've put we've basically installed an offense over Zoom. No preseason games, a couple inter squad games. Here you go. Oh, by the way, you're taking on Pittsburgh, Chicago, 49ers. You're taking on the Rams and Dallas all week, all in the first 5 weeks. Good luck.
It's like I said, we knew the first 6 weeks were going to be hard before COVID hit. When we just knew who we had.
We had a chance against the Skins because their offense is just about as putrid as ours.
Exactly. But we knew the first 6 was going to be hard, and then it got even more so hard. Like, it makes sense when you think about it now, how terrible they're doing offensively. I didn't expect them to be this bad, but you could sort of see, the picture becomes clearer when you take everything into account. And I'm also gonna say this, and I put this in the preview video as well. As much as I am holding DJ to a big accountability now, because unfortunately he just needs to be held to accountability when it comes to making stupid plays. Like, I feel like every single one of his picks except for the TJ one was just a stupid play on his part. So I'm going to hold him accountable in regards to that. But in regards to everything else, he literally has had 0 help. He's had no help anywhere else you look on the offense. And it's funny. I've said this a couple of times. I feel like if he was on any other team, he would be allowed to not have help and struggle. I feel like if he was on any other team in a different market with a different media, with a different organization, the fact that he has no help and he's struggling, the team, people would realize that and they would just let him go through that season and see how it develops.
All right, so people were asking where KB is. KB said he'd be late. That also means he might not join the stream at all. So with KB, it's an open invitation. He told me he'd be late. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he does. If he shows up, great. If he doesn't show up, great. Kind of wish we had him right in the beginning because I want to hear what he has to think on ownership. That I would really love to hear that. Where was I? OGR Sports Packers again show you why they had zero interest in Martinez. He's a coverage nightmare.
Martinez has been good in coverage. What are you talking about? Who said that? Clocks. Martinez has been good in coverage.
Exactly.
Blake Martinez has been through the first 3 weeks. I stumbled on my words there. Has been through the first 3 weeks of football, one of the best graded middle linebackers in the league. Like he's still a monster in tackling, and he did what I told everybody he was going to do. He's going to be better in coverage.
And he is. And under Patrick Graham, he has been better in coverage. I mean, sometimes a defensive coordinator, understands
how to use you better.
Players understand the defensive coordinator's scheme, and the players able to play better under that scheme. Key example: Marcus Golden. Where the hell's Marcus Golden?
Yo, thank you.
I don't know.
I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about that right now. I don't like the fact, and when the what was it called? Not the 53-man roster, the depth chart. When the official depth chart was released, and I saw Marcus Golden was listed as a backup, I was worried. Because I'm like, you can't have Marcus Golden as a backup. He's a proven talent that could get you 10 sacks. And the reason he hasn't been having that impact is because he's playing rotational player snaps, which I think is stupid. And I know they want to develop Jimenez personally, and it's recorded on my channel. I've never been
I don't even know who the starters are. I know
it is Jimenez.
One's Lorenzo. Who's the other one? Because I've seen a lot of snaps with Frack roll as well.
It is Jimenez. I was about to tell you. I was saying, of course, I would support the guy, but I was never as big as a supporter of Jimenez compared to everybody else with the hype train with him. And I just knew, like, in my heart, I'm like, they have to start Marcus Golden, and they haven't done that. And he's gotten, like, I think only 20% of the snaps so far this year, which how can you expect him to do anything on just 20% of the snaps? And you're right, that other role there, Lorenzo is kind of like that maintained starter. The other role has kind of been rotated a bit, but it's primarily O'Shane who's been getting the snaps. And you could point out he hasn't had an impact. You could point out as to whether or not it's because he's sharing too much or whether or not he's just not producing. Whatever the case is, I think that they should just slot Marcus Golden back into the starter role there and let him do his thing.
Maybe, but I'll bring this up too. Do you really think that the league, just like the league kind of adjusted to Lorenzo last year where Lorenzo did nothing, and even O'Shane Jimenez outshined Lorenzo in certain games? Do you feel the same way that maybe a league has adjusted to O'Shane? O'Shane is going to pick it up toward the end of the year, maybe, and he'll be a better player next year. Because I've heard a dumb thing this week. If you don't prove it in the first 3 seasons, that's it. Whatever happened to developing players? No player's a finished product, especially when you're drafting in the 3rd, 4th round. They're not a finished product for a reason. That's why they're going in the 3rd and 4th round.
On the first 3 seasons thing, I don't necessarily disagree with that. My thing, because I have a similar first 3 seasons saying that I say, I'm like, what a player is in their first 3 seasons. That doesn't mean that they're not worth it after their first 3 seasons. I just think you can see what a player is after their first 3 seasons, specifically for rounds 1, 2, and 3. Every other round, in my opinion, it's honestly a shot in the dark. But that's just my opinion on it. I wouldn't say you're done with a player after their first 3 seasons. That's part of the reason why I said that this is the year Lorenzo needs to prove himself to the Giants, because he was a third round pick. And he has, exactly. And he has proved himself. To respond to your O'Shane Jimenez question, my thing is I'm going to have to compare. I think last year Lorenzo had 40% of snaps on defense, right? Like I said, a lot of this could deal with the fact that he's just not having much time out there for Jimenez. So depending on how much time he has out there, he may adjust to the thing, you know what I'm saying? But I think we all knew that Jimenez was the stronger of the two, but he wasn't the more athletic of the two. And then this past offseason, Lorenzo made up on, his like lack of strength and lack of muscle. And now he's kind of like a well-rounded type of pass rusher. So maybe Jimenez needs to work on becoming more athletic. I don't know. Maybe that's just a suggestion there.
Punkham says, I think Bradbury's the best corner this year so far. I mean, that's certainly an argument for it. I mean, best corner on the Giants for sure.
Is Bradbury currently our best player?
Yes.
Makes sense. These are
That's
high
right
today, I
now.
think.
Out of comparing everybody, if you want to say through the first 3 weeks, who's our best player? Oh, Bradbury all day.
Because who else would you even suggest? I guess you could suggest Martinez.
Yep.
Maybe suggest like Dalvin Tomlinson. I don't know. Leonard Williams is honestly
Leonard Williams.
disappeared after
You
week
could
one.
put Leonard. Right now, it's all in the defense, and it's either Leonard, Blake, or Bradbury. It's those three are the best players on the Giants right now. There, you can say nobody on the offense, nobody. So I mean, it's as bad as it is. I mean, Davy G should be fired. Bottles will be popping. Yeah, but even if Davy G is fired, do you trust ownership to make the right decision? I want to hear. I want to see an answer from the question through the chat, because if so, what makes you think that?
How are we beating? We've been talking about the Rams pass rush. How are we beating the secondary? They have a very underrated secondary, and of course, one very good player in Jalen Ramsey.
Establish the run. Their linebacker. They don't have the greatest linebacking crew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm saying you have to keep them guessing. So screens, draws, you have to assemble some side. If you want to stop, the best way to stop a pass rush is to establish the run. The Giants don't establish the run, they're probably going to lose by 20. If they establish a run, they only lose by 10. But they're not winning this game.
If they establish the run, I still think we're losing by like 15. I'm just going to put that out there. I feel like this is one of those games. I mean, not
10 and 15. The difference between 10 and 15 is like half a dozen. Like, who cares?
Okay, that's still a lot, bro.
We go 10.
Tell me which one looks better, OGR? Losing 35-10 or losing 35-15, bro?
35-15.
It's exactly, that's my point. I was gonna say though, I'm gonna kind of spoil my preview video a little bit, and shout out to everybody new that too, and then so I'm gonna plug it again. Go check it out.
For sure.
When I recorded it, I was like, I don't even have a score prediction. I usually put my score prediction in there. In editing, I was just like, yo, this is the score that I really think is about to happen. I put 39-16. I think that's gonna be the final score.
I'm hoping the Giants get to 20 at least, man. I want us to get to 20. I think that'd be like
I know you watched my previews. You know how I have my bold predictions? Guess what my bold prediction for the offense was?
50 yards rushing.
That we get more than 16 points. Can you imagine that's a bold prediction?
Oh, yes. Okay, so Big Move for Life says, remember when people said Isaiah Simmons would help us win now?
And Isaiah Simmons apparently hasn't been doing that good for the Cardinals either. I've seen that he's been doing pretty bad.
Because this is the same thing with Thomas Davis. People compare him to Thomas Davis. Thomas Davis, they started him off in Carolina, at free safety? Terrible at free safety. They put him inside, and he broke out.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, with Isaiah Simmons, and this was my worry, you need to figure out where he can play.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Did you see what Andrew Thomas did to Josh Allen? No, I did not.
In college, Andrew Thomas absolutely threw him off the camera screen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, where do you think that Isaiah Simmons can succeed? Because right now, isn't he at middle linebacker right now, or am I wrong about that?
I think you're right. Where do I think he can play? I think he can succeed. Anything,
or at the very least, where would you try him out next?
I'd try him out as a box safety, strong safety.
Okay. He is a very light,
or weak side linebacker.
Or like a pass rusher, weak side linebacker?
No, the ability to do both. Like, use him in multiple packages.
Okay, then. Okay.
So, like, I bring him off the edge, bring him on a blitz. Anywhere where he has to just he has one responsibility on the play. That's why I don't put him at middle linebacker. Middle linebacker, you need to be able to read, you need to be able to call, you need to be able to look. Isaiah Simmons, use him to his ability. I'm not saying he can't diagnose as a linebacker. That's part of it. That's instinct. But also being a linebacker is just being able to say, go. And that's what Isaiah Simmons is good at. That's why they moved him around the field at Clemson. Because each and every one of those plays, I guarantee he had one job to do. Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
Cover. Whatever it may be. Simplify it for Isaiah Simmons and he'll play better. Allow his athleticism to shine. Middle linebacker is the wrong way.
Damn, Punkham says that Simmons is the worst graded linebacker that was drafted. Not that was drafted, just the worst graded linebacker in the NFL.
I don't know if that's true, but you know what, Pumpkin. I keep calling him Pumpkin. It's great. Yeah, I do agree. I'll trust him on that one. Is what I'm basically trying to say.
What do you think about the fact that Bradley's suggesting the Cardinals should have taken Wills instead of Simmons? I mean, I was surprised when they took Simmons. I think everybody was because they.
I just think they probably had. had Simmons graded higher, and they took the best player there instead of taking for need. A lot of people want people to take for need.
Mm-hmm.
Lestat Walton, what's going on?
Shout out to Lestat.
Just show you guys Hall of Fame of greatness of Quentin Thomas, who I love, has given up 3 sacks this year. Quentin hasn't given him 0 sacks in his career. Look it up. We know, we know how good Quentin is.
Quentin Nelson is the best offensive lineman in the league right now. I don't think you need to tell us about that. But also, they played 2 different positions. I'm not even comparing Thomas to Quentin Nelson because, like I said, he's the best offensive lineman, period, in the league, essentially, since he stepped in. But they do play 2 different positions. Usually, you would be giving up a bit more sacks if you're on the outside than the inside.
Cox, I got a question for you. Can Quentin play left tackle? The answer to that question, Cox. And if the answer is no, because he can't. Do you think the scheme is what is helping Blake Martinez flourish so much? To me, it's using them in the way the Dolphins use Raekwon McMillan.
So
I would say, I mean, to me, it's just sometimes players flourish in a certain system. I would absolutely agree with that.
I agree with it to a certain extent. And I'm going to go back to a point you said earlier. I think it's more so the fact that Graham just knows how to use him. And like the moment we signed Blake Martinez, I feel like I was one of his only supporters because I knew what this guy did in Green Bay, and I knew for a fact he was being misused in Green Bay and specifically being used to just be a tackling machine. So he could never kind of flex his muscles in pass coverage or any other aspect of being a linebacker, right? So, and then there's also the fact that he flourished under Patrick Graham before. Once again, going back to what you said, I think it's just a matter of Graham knowing how to use him.
What's going on, my man?
Shout out. Christopher says, what are your... Oh, what happened?
He said guy on the Saints OGR.
I don't know.
As for left
Christopher
tackle
here, he says, what are your expectations for Devontae Freeman this week?
My expectation for Devontae Freeman, get more than 50 yards on 10 carries.
10 carries? So that's 5 yards a carry, bro.
I know what I'm at.
That's not an expectation. That's a bold prediction. That's not an expectation.
That is a bold prediction because that's what we're going to need.
Yeah, but what is your expectation, though?
Okay, fine. My expectation is getting 3.6 yard a carry. I'd be happy with that.
That's very, very specific. That's extremely specific. My expectation.
You know why I say 3.6? Because he averaged 3.6 with Atlanta. So as long as he's as good as he was with Atlanta, at least 3.6. That's 3.5 is bare minimum for a running back, I feel, in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So 3.6 is just above bare minimum.
His numbers last week against the Niners, in my opinion, were kind of skewed because he came in and he had very consistently good runs, and then he got stuffed a couple times in the backfield and they never used him since. So I think he is going to be kind of consistent. I'm not going to say 5 yards a carry, but I definitely think he could get 3.6 or more than that. And I do think that we should use him more. We should definitely give him 15 carries at least, or around the 15 carries number, and then have that rotation of the other guys in there as well.
Zachary, what's good? Yes, positive runs are good. I would agree with that statement. If nothing else, I want Daniel Jones to have a good game. Not even a great, just a good. Try not to turn it over. Don't add fuel to the fire of these fans that want to tank for Trevor. You know what? That is I think what everybody. I mean, Bad Dog even said it in his video. He said, "Hey, that's all I want is for Daniel Jones not to turn the ball over. If Daniel Jones only turns the ball over once, and as long as he does it on the plus side of the 50, I consider that a win."
Mm-hmm. So here's my thing. And once again, I said this in the preview videos. Yo, listen, bro, y'all need to go and check that out, man.
You should check it out.
I literally said the same thing.
I didn't have time to watch the premiere, so I might watch it later. I didn't have time to watch it because I was setting this up, but
yeah, understandable. But yeah, literally, that's all I said. I'm like, this guy, listen, DJ, don't make any boneheaded decisions, which is what your picks have been. Your picks have been bad decisions, but low key, they've been bad decisions because it was either A, make a bad decision, or B, make no decision and possibly risk, a sack and a strip fumble, which would have gotten him in even more fire because people are already on his neck because of the fumbles, right? So I'm just like, if you don't see anything, throw the ball out of bounds, which he's been getting better at. He's been getting progressively better and better at knowing how to throw the ball out of bounds, not get called for intentional grounding or anything like that. But in terms of his turnovers, it's literally been because the team around him has failed him. So I'm just like, if you see nothing, throw it out of bounds, bro. Be Dak Prescott, be Russell Wilson, who are like guys that are great at throwing it out of bounds when they need to. That's all I'm gonna say.
Zachary, Harrison Jolly, what's going on, my man?
Shout out to the DJ lookalike.
So yes, the DJ lookalike is very, very apropos. All right, so Zachary wants to know floor and ceiling right now for Daniel Jones. I'll let you answer first, and then I'll answer.
That's very, very hard to say right now, man.
I'll give you a couple names, either floor or ceiling. Now, these are not going to be my picks necessarily.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
I'm going to say I'm going to say Tannehill, and I'm going to say Alex Smith.
I'll tell you right now, his floor is what he is right now. His floor is Daniel Jones 1.0, which is what he is right now. His ceiling, I think, is what we all said his ceiling was going to be, or what he could be in the NFL, which is a more mobile Alex Smith. That's just what I think.
I think Ryan Tannehill right now is his ceiling. I'm not saying he can't break through that glass ceiling, and his floor is what he is now. A turnover machine. He's Jameis Winston, basically.
No, he's not.
Winston.
Listen, I'm sorry that I have to say this because I never thought I would. Don't insult Jameis that way, because at least Jameis got tons of yardage and tons of touchdowns along with his turnovers.
Well, we'll remain to see 13 games. There's still time to throw tons of
touchdowns. I know, obviously, but we're talking about right now. He's not Jameis right now. He's worse than Jameis.
His rookie season. Now, I'm not saying he will or won't, and that's not a ton of 24 is not a ton of touchdowns, but in 12 games it is. So that's what I'm going to say. Right now, his floor is Jameis Winston, even though you feel that's an insult. I don't. And his ceiling is Ryan Tannehill.
No. I said I feel like it's an insult to Jameis, which is why I never thought I'd say that.
Oh, it's not an insult.
It is. I'm sorry. No, because Jameis, I feel like Jameis does get disrespected a little too much. He gets a lot of positive yardage and a lot of touchdowns along with his turnovers. As of right now,
he's already better than Dave Brown.
Huh?
He's already better than Dave Brown.
I don't think unless if you're actually comparing DJ to Dave Brown right now, anybody in the chat, just dip. I don't know why you are.
Dave Brown is. No, he's saying ESPN is running Dave Brown. Dave Brown, I think one season had a 40% completion percentage. If I'm like 47%, like I think the guy was 50% for his entire career. Like
the only reason ESPN is running those comparisons is because they're both out of Duke, right? That's literally the only reason.
Absolutely. Christopher Haldego, what's going on? He says Jones doesn't have the making of Evans or Chris Godwin, or doesn't have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. That is very true.
Yeah, that is true as well. That, you know what, with the outbreak of Chris Godwin, but Jameis did have Mike Evans, who's super underrated.
So Bradley says floor and ceiling for Andrew Thomas. Floor, average left tackle, ceiling number one.
I actually agree with that. That is one I could get behind.
I already think he's better than an average left tackle already.
Yeah,
I already think he is,
especially given the competition they're going up against.
Oh, you know what? Quick question. This is a little off topic. What do you think about what the Jets did with Mekhi Becton?
What did they do with him? I saw that Gang Green one of the Gang Green channels. I forgot if it's Gang Green David.
Gang Green David, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and Nothing But Jets, I think. They put out videos saying, what are they doing with Becton? I don't know what they did with Becton because I didn't get to see the game last night.
So basically, I think Becton was banged up going into the game. Instead of sitting him, they put him out there, and it sounds like whatever he had before, he just made worse.
See, now, here's why that's a stupid decision, and we all knew it was a stupid decision. Mekhi Becton's weight. All right, any type of injury that dude has, you want to sit him down because his weight is going to make it worse if he's out on the field. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's just the Jets being stupid. Like, the Giants may not be the worst team in the league. We might be just one step ahead of the Jets because at least we didn't do that with any of our players.
I will say this. The Jets beat us last year, so how can we claim we're one step ahead?
Because we're talking about this year.
We have to play them before I believe that. Right now, I'll go on even par. If we beat it, you know what? Put it this way. If we pull out a win against the Rams in a miracle, which I think the Giants will have one game that nobody expects them to win. Don't jinx
your thoughts, bro, because maybe your thoughts will come through, but you speaking them might jinx it.
No, I'm not. I don't give a shit if it jinxes it. Regardless, I was probably going to watch a loss regardless. I still got to call this on Sunday, my friend.
Yeah.
So, and I got to call my man TSR. So, yeah.
The thing is, I know what you're talking about. The one game I was going to say that we might pull out and win that nobody expected us to pull out and win is Tampa Bay. I don't know why. Tampa
Hey,
Bay
I know
is the game
you
I thought.
and Kid Blue do your own thing, but do you guys want me, you, Kid Blue, TSR all get together for one giant stream this year?
I already gave you an answer to that. I'm down anytime. I keep forgetting to ask KB. If you got to hit up
I
KB
mean,
about it as well.
it's just more or less whose channel it's going to be on. Because I think it's actually, to be honest with you, I don't care what channel personally, but I have a feeling it's going to be between KB and him. So
Heard.
But hey, it's up. You let me know what you want to do. Maybe you want it on your channel. I don't know.
No, I'm fine with whatever.
We definitely need. So Big Blue for Life says we definitely need to utilize Jones' legs some more, run more RPOs, plays, and actions. Seemed like Garrett was starting to figure that out last week. Let's see if it happens. I think he was, but obviously, when you're down double digits, you're not going to run any more RPOs. Like RPOs to me you're going to run that when the score's closer. Maybe you're 1 or 2 scores away. You're not when you can run the ball. Obviously, San Fran was able to pin their earbacks at the end of the game because they knew we were chucking it. So
exactly. And I see another question here saying that I think it was Zachary. He says, does Jason Garrett need to take more deep shots? It depends on the situation, but the fact that the only deep shot we took was very late in the game, and that was literally the only one I could remember throughout the entire season. Yeah, but it does really depend on the situation.
I think Thomas will be about the level of Laramie Tunsil. Hey, I'll take it.
Laramie Tunsil is it crazy to say that Laramie Tunsil is underrated? I don't know.
No, I don't think he's underrated. I don't
hear talk about him.
He's living up to expectations, and people are just like,
where would you rank him amongst the tackles in the league?
You actually noticed that?
What?
That nobody ever says that player lived up to their expectations. So you either exceed expectations or below expectation. When has anybody ever said that player lived up to expectations?
I don't know. That's a good point.
And I think that's what Laramie Tunsil is doing. And if
he is what he was. He is as advertised, basically.
The Giants do good on the West Coast, says Zachary.
OGR, where would you rank Tunsil amongst the league tackles?
Oh, man, I would have to really look and think about it. But you know what? I'll be safe because I'm not sure. I'll say top 10. I mean, left tackle's tough, and you either a good left tackle or an average one, or below average. I think the difference is wide. I would have to actually go look at it physically.
It's crazy because now I'm thinking about it, I'm sort of blanking on league left tackles.
Anyone saw the Jets game last night knows that Trevor Lawrence to the Giants talk is nonsense.
Are you saying that because you think the Jets are worse, Christopher? Somebody needs to enlighten me on exactly what went on during this Jets game. All I saw was the final score because I was busy.
So basically, I think I got it right on the Becton thing. He was already injured and they threw him back out there and he re-injured it or made it worse. And I mean the Jets are hot garbage on offense. The fact that they scored 20 against the Broncos, I guess is a miracle if you're the Jets fan. But I mean, it took Sam Darnold running 46 yards on one play. They tried to kill Sam Darnold. Yes, I saw that.
They're consistently trying to kill Sam Darnold, okay?
Well, let's face it, the guy sees ghosts. So I mean, it wouldn't be hard to kill a guy that sees ghosts. No, I'm joking. I don't want to see a quarterback get hit like that. I saw that slam to the arm. There should have been a roughing call on that for sure. But I paid a little bit of attention to it. I mean, it's just people. A lot of people are. Well, they'll never say it, but they're Jets and Giants fans. There are such thing as Jets.
Really? I have yet to encounter one. I've encountered a lot of Knicks and Nets
because they're always rooting for the one that's better at the time.
It's funny because, like I said, I've encountered that with basketball with Knicks and Nets. I've seen it with baseball with Mets and Yankees, and I've seen it with hockey with Rangers and Islanders. But I've yet to see it, at least in NYC here, for Jets and Giants. Like at least where I live in NYC, it's a very actually heated between the Jets and Giants fans.
Their defense is so undisciplined. Big Blue for Life said. Big Blue for Life, did you change your I guess you changed your avatar.
What did it used to be?
I don't remember. I think it was just a regular NY.
Okay.
They tried to kill us. Jets had a game won and blew it with penalties.
What exactly happened? Did they have the lead by like 10 or something?
That's all I know is Denver was leading at half, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I paid a little bit. I saw the 2 plays I saw was Sam Darnold running 46 yards and Jerry Jeudy mossing that dude on the sideline to get his first touchdown. And by the way, I took in my other fantasy league, I took out CeeDee Lamb to put in Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, yeah, I just want to say you were talking mad hot between our matchup, and then I ended up blowing you out anyway. I warned you.
Not blow me out. I am sorry. That was not a blowout.
Can you repeat the final score for the audience? Can you repeat the final score for the audience?
I think I'll repeat it. Yeah. I got to look it up on my phone. You got to give me a sec.
Okay. All right, bro.
Hey, I'll play you again. I'll kick your ass. You got lucky.
Sure. When do we next face each other in the schedule, man? All I'm saying
I don't know. Are we in the same division though?
That's a good question. Well, all I'm saying is that, I really made a good decision by taking Russell Wilson in basically all my fantasy leagues because I had a feeling he was going to have a good year. I did not expect like this MVP caliber year though, and he's been carrying like 3 out of the 4 of my fantasy teams when it comes to winning, man.
I am still trying. Come on, stupid phone, man. All right, there we go. All right, it's loading out. You beat me 119 to 108.16. You beat me by 8. Congratulations.
119 to 108?
Yeah.
Listen, in the NFL, bro, beating somebody by more than a touchdown is a blowout.
No. I am sorry. A touchdown is a close game to me.
Okay.
More than 10? If you would have beat me by more than 10, I'd be having this agreement with you. Chat, you let me know. Is beating by somebody in the NFL or in fantasy by more than 7 points, less than 10 points, or actually, no, sorry. Is 7 points or less a blowout?
Or 7 points or less? Or you mean 7 points or more?
7 points is 7 points or more a blowout? Actually, no, that doesn't work. All right. Basically, the difference is 7 points. Do you consider 7 points a close game? How about that one?
Well, it was 8 points. All right. Thank you for lying to the people.
8 points is a close game.
Technically, wait a minute.
It's 14 or more. Angel Gomez says, laughing my ass off. You guys are so dumb. No. Close game, brother. Yeah. What?
Listen, all I'm saying is OGR, if I could show the receipts, OGR was talking mad hot. All right. He even messaged me first. He's like, so I noticed we play each other in fantasy this week. I was like, oh, I didn't even know. And then he got off. I'm like, bro, listen, you don't come up to the fantasy master like that, man.
Or the fantasy master. Stop it. You're 3-0.
I didn't name myself the fantasy master.
You're 3-0, and I am 2-1. We'll see.
Bro.
I'll see you at the end of the season.
Sure. Let's hope your team makes it there, bro. Did the injuries affect you?
What injuries?
From week 2.
Let me see.
And while I get to that, I actually pulled up just because it was nagging me because I can remember any NFL tackles. This is a PFF list for their rankings of the tackles. It's not by left or right. So they got Mitchell Schwartz as the best tackle in the league right now for Kansas City Chiefs. Is he a right tackle? Mitch Schwartz? I want to say Mitch
Schwartz
is a right tackle. Yeah, he's a right tackle.
Yeah.
Then they have Ryan Ramczyk, who of course is the right tackle.
Actually, you can help me out this week because I actually do have a little bit of a conundrum on my hands.
What's up?
I don't really want to start McLaurin against Buffalo or Baltimore. I have a choice of John Brown, who's going to go this week, Devontae Parker, or T.Y. Hilton in his place.
Who are each of them playing? Who's John Brown playing?
So John Brown is playing Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
T.Y. is playing Chicago. And Devontae is playing Seattle.
I'd go John Brown. I'm definitely not starting Terry McLaurin because I feel like Washington's about to get pulverized, probably as bad as we are, if not worse. I was actually gonna say, I forgot who you said last, Devontae Parker against Seattle, because I think that Miami. Hold up, let me pull up Miami real quick. Miami's depth chart. Miami Dolphins.
Oh, and by the way, I want to point this out in the chat. Mike Gesicki is killing it.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki's been like really good this year. For some reason, when you go to MiamiDolphins.com and go to their depth chart, it doesn't exist. Thank you, Miami. You guys are trash at handling your own website.
Zachary asked as you're looking this up, did you like the XFL? I didn't mind it. I can't speak for the hub.
Oh, I like the XFL a lot. I was a big Guardians fan, man. I was cheering for the Guardians every week. I actually watched it whenever I could catch it.
You know the answer. I'd rather have the average QB behind a Hall of Fame offensive line.
So here's the thing. You know what? OGR, I'm actually kind of tied now between Devontae Parker and John Brown, actually, to start.
I would
say a decision between those two.
Devontae, just to let you know.
What happened?
I was leaning Devontae, just to let you know.
Yeah, he is the number one option. So there is that. That could make up for a lot, actually. Shout out to Nikki in the chat, one of my members, with the usual heart emoji out here.
Yes, and then obviously Nikki's just epic, so we all know that. She's a subscriber of mine as well, I believe. OGR, Butcher Black Place says, OGR legit looks like a supervillain in Marvel comic. All that missing is the cat on the lap. No problem.
No. He looks like his is it Dr. Evil from Austin Powers? Forgot the name. Yeah, that guy.
Yes, it is Dr. Evil. Can we get 11 O-line? That'd be good. Bradley says, can someone please tell me Max Kellerman thinks if someone is automatically taken in the first round, they have to become a Hall of Famer?
Because Max is a boxing guy. He's not any other sports guy.
Max is dumb, dude. Like, literally, they brought Max in to make Stephen A look better.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least when Stephen A and Skip Bayless,
I'm going to say this. My favorite moments of Max is when he actually claps back at Stephen A.
Which is never.
He does it every now and again, but you're right. It's basically never. But those are my favorite moments of Max.
And Max is terrible at clapping back because he doesn't know how to combat the interruption by Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, go ahead, Stephen A. Try and talk over OGR. Never happened.
And then he's always like, he always just shakes his head or laughs it off. And I'm like, God damn it, Max. Can you like do something a bit more aggressive, man? Rebut at least.
Yeah, he's terrible. Like, there's a reason why, even though I don't understand why ESPN, like, their show with Stephen A. Smith is still more popular than Skip Bayless and Shannon, but I think Skip Bayless or Shannon just do a better job.
I'm going to watch the reason ESPN show is more popular is just because they're more established as a network. Like Fox Sports 1, FS1, they're not as established as a network.
I said Zachary goes, who's worse, ESPN or PFF? Both.
No, ESPN. My opinion on PFF is always this. They have the best stats out there, and I love and respect their stats. Where I disagree with them is how they interpret their stats and, form their opinions about it. Yeah. ESPN can't compare when it comes to stats with PFF.
Both ESPN and PFF are the lowest tier of Mexican sewage. Oh, my God.
FS1 has to fit in there somewhere, too. I mean, like, I love Undisputed, but you be getting on my nerves sometimes. And then what's called First Things First, I used to like it, and now it's just not good at all. Like FS1, okay, you know what? It's probably not as low as those, but it's also low.
Yeah. Man, how did Max Kellerman come up in all this? But now that we're kind of off subject, and, I only wanted to go for about an hour, and it's clear that Kid Blue will not be popping in, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind just hanging out an hour with my man, The Hub. I mean, is there really another better Giants YouTuber than The Hub? No, I'm joking.
You don't want to bring that up.
No, but you know what, man? You're easily in my top 5. How about that one?
Thank you. I'll take that.
But anyways, guys, it's been OGR. And Hub, I'll let you close it out.
I was going to say, actually, unless the chat has anything else they want to bring up, since I see the chat is actually moving since we were discussing mainstream media, unless the chat has anything else to bring up, thank you all for tuning in. We had a nice, diverse crowd out here tonight. In terms of different people chatting and whatnot. Butcher's Block, Patriots Talk. Go over there and check that guy out. I know OGR's worked with him before.
Butcher, you just got to fast forward to the first 5 minutes of the stream, and I'll answer your question. To make it very quick, ownership. Is the Giants' ownership has established themselves. What we consider one of the best franchises in sports. We are no longer one of the best franchises, and to me, nothing more says that more than the fact that not a single top coaching candidate, not the fact that I wanted any of them, interviewed with the Giants. Not Mike McCarthy, not Ron Rivera, and not Matt Rule. Those were considered the top 3. Regardless if you disagree or not, those were the top 3. None of them interviewed with the Giants that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
So why, if the Giants are such a great organization, why didn't any of those coaches interview with us? I understand Matt Rule was bought out before he moved, but still. that is a symbolization of, wow, your organization is trash.
Yeah. And it was a symbolization of that way back in 2017, 2018, when it was either Matt Patricia or the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, or maybe both of them came in for an interview and they left and they said that was the worst like ran franchise they've ever interviewed with. I don't know if anybody remembers that. One of the
I
Patriots
didn't even know they said that.
Yeah, no, one of them. I want to say it's Josh McDaniels because he's usually the more outspoken of the two. I want to say Josh McDaniels interviewed for the head coaching position in 2018 with the Giants. He came out and he said that.
So if that is the case, that's all you need to know. I do not trust John Mara. I do not trust Steve Tisch. I hope they prove me wrong or they get lucky with dumb luck.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But
so,
yeah, I was going to say thank you all for tuning in, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You know, Christopher, Zachary, BB, Bishop's Block, and Patriots Talk. I was going to try and put that into an abbreviation. Punkum, you know, everybody was in here. Nikki, thank you all for tuning in. Yo, make sure you guys sub OGRLP. He's very, very close to 1,000. Go over to mine as well. Check out my preview for Giants Rams. I know that it's going to be some painful to live through because I kept it very real in there. And it was actually usually my preview videos are a bit more formal than the way I did this one because I was just I was still feeling pain when I recorded that video. And I was just still feeling a little bit disappointment with the Giants when I recorded it. But I'm be honest, it was very, very like my raw and real like expectations of what's going to happen. So I hope you guys enjoy it from that aspect.
Again, thank you to the hub. Thank you for everybody showing up tonight. I do appreciate it. It's kind of impromptu. But either way, guys, what you going to do when OGR runs wild on you?
Hey, that's